Welcome back to video number 2 on this Monday morning. Of course, the Royals have been out and about and very busy. We have a lot to cover, so let's just jump in and get there, shall we? Let's go. We're starting off today with King Charles, who went to Devon to visit the Commando Center where he trained in 1974. He described his training as, quote, very uncomfortable. I bet. So, over 50 years ago, he said, I was here at the Royal Marine Base and, I was put through my paces. He completed his helicopter pilot training at the Commando Training Center, Royal Marines in 1974. So this past Friday, he returned to the base to present the prestigious King's Badge to a trainee. The last monarch to present the badge was his grandfather, King Charles VI, in 1939. So the Green Berets were there. There are 4 commando tests the Marines must complete to wear the Green Beret. And one of them is like a high ropes. It's called a, quote, Tarzan assault course, which he watched recruits perform the same maneuver. And they handed the king a picture of himself doing the high ropes. Interestingly enough, the king got out of his car to view the assault course, and they said he was really smiling and beaming. And they said, obviously, they hoped he would feel that way, and he did. Well, he was remembering his own experiences while he was engaging with the Marines. He said he wasn't very kind in his description about it. It was uncomfortable, but nonetheless, he enjoyed recalling it and often asked a lot of recruits about their experiences of the commando test. Now, you guys should know that this visit was the first time the king has been to the base since he took over as Captain General of the Royal Marines in 2022, which was a role that was held by the Duke of Sussex and the late Prince Philip. So this is one of the roles that was removed from Harry. Now, after he gave the badge to Mr. Phillips, who, by the way, is 20 years old, the king gave a speech where he praised the Marines who have faced cuts in recent years and acknowledged how difficult their training is. Marine Stevens from North Wales was selected for the King's Badge after completing his training despite a very serious injury. So after 10 months recuperating, he came back to finish his training and completed his 5 final weeks to earn the badge. I think that's pretty cool. Another Marine, Joseph Ryan, was singled out to receive his Green Beret from the king after they said he epitomized the commando spirit and ethos through his conversion from civilian to Royal Marine. Love it. Just FYI, the injury that he had, it's being reported, was a lengthy shoulder injury, which took over 5 months of rehabilitation before he was able to come back and finish. Now, during this visit, King Charles met 100-year-old D-Day veteran Norman Ashford, who was a coxswain on a landing craft at Gold Beach. The king also met Marine Cadet Benjamin Crockett. I love this. All right, let's move on to Princess Anne. The University of Highlands and Islands, UHI, had a graduation in Inverness on Thursday, the 14th of November. Over 130 nursing and optometry students from their campuses. And of course, the event was presided over by UHI's Chancellor, the Royal Highness, the Princess Royal. Next up, on November 16th, the Duchess of Gloucester attended a concert and dinner that was hosted by Queen Paula of the Belgians at the Laeken Castle in Belgium. Also there at the same time was King Albert II and Princess Matilda of the Belgians, Queen Sylvia of Sweden, and the Infanta Cristina of Spain. All right, next up, we have a double event. I love this. It's Sophie and Edward, the Duke and Duchess, went to visit Stoke Manville Hospital National Spinal Cord Injury Center because it was celebrating its 80th year. So apparently, Sophie and Edward, it's being reported, spent a significant amount of time speaking to injured children and going through the wards to see all the different therapies that are available. And then Sophie and Edward sat down and had some cake and tea as they spoke to members of staff and delegates. Very interesting. They were also able to go and show some of the sports that they have available. So Sophie was really rocking it with table tennis. Then she tried her hand in archery, and so did Edward. Unfortunately, they didn't show whether they were able to hit the mark. I'm pretty sure, though, that they probably did. Now, the next thing that they did was they spent time in Horatio's Garden, which, by the way, is a separate charity based at the hospital, accessible to patients. I love that. So they can, garden and plant and do things like that. Now, not long after that, they unveiled a plaque, and Edward said it was a pleasure to visit this special year, marking 80 years of the brilliant work of the National Spinal Injury Center at the hospital. They signed the book, did all the things that they usually do. Now, when they were done with that, they headed over to the Stoke Manville Stadium in the afternoon. It is the official National Center for Disability Sport. It opened in August of 1969. A big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us everything Sophie was wearing. Very nice. Next up, we're moving up to Zara Tyndall, who was seen walking at the Cheltenham race course this past Saturday. She was holding a racing program in her hand. She was there for an event called November Saturday, which is supposed to be one of the most anticipated race days outside the Cheltenham Festival. As usual, a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce for showing us that gorgeous jacket. All right, let's move on now to Peter Phillips. We know that he has a new girlfriend, Harriet Sperling. They made their public debut in May, watching Zara at a sporting event. And since then, it appears they've been inseparable. It looks like, they're moving right along. Now, we know that Peter and his ex-wife Autumn have 2 daughters, but what really made the headlines about them is that they're very amicable in their co-parenting, like all parents should be when they split up. Now, Peter and his girlfriend also attended Royal Ascot together and Wimbledon together, and it looks like, this might be something, it might be a something. She is an NHS nurse and a writer. All right, he's not a working royal, neither is Peter, but let's talk about it anyway. We've already gone through this whole thing with Andrew and the security and having his allowance cut. But the problem is, inside the Royal Lodge, there are paintings, furniture, priceless works of art, which are on loan from the Royal Collection. There's a lot of stuff in that house that belongs to the Royal Collection. So if Andrew can't secure the house, then they might decide that the house isn't safe, and they may start taking the paintings and some of the furniture out. Now, we know that Andrew's financial resources are unclear. He's claiming he found another source of income, but nobody's aware of what that is, and we don't know if that can be relied on in the long term. In the meantime, Andrew's going to have to secure all this expensive stuff. All right, moving on. We're going to go back to Princess Anne. We're finishing with her. She was spotted at a very famous rugby match between Scotland and Portugal at the Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh. And everybody's talking about this scarf and this jewel that she had on. The scarf was paying tribute to Scotland, and she is the royal patron of the Scottish Rugby Union. And she also had on the silver brooch, which she often wears to these Scottish rugby matches because it's considered a good luck charm. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Hit the like and the subscribe bell and the button for all notifications. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Gettr, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, which is currently paused, my Amazon wishlist, and a physical address. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.